Okay. So again, welcome to everyone that's online with us. I see some very familiar faces. I see someone that I haven't seen for years, but I can see Gail Hutchings. You've joined us. Oh my goodness, how many years back that we've had a chat. Gail, lovely to see you with us. Wonderful. Hope you're very happy there in the Cape still. Oh, you love it there. That's fantastic. And I see that we've got some of our 2026 nominees online with us, and obviously our members, and quite a few of our new members who recently joined the community, the Women of Stature community. So, as I said, we're going to be talking all things future. What does the future look like? In South Africa, we are very often so inwardly focused that we forget that there's a world out there. And we also, as I know, entrepreneurs, we're very focused in our businesses. And we also sometimes even forget that there's a world out there right along down the road. And I think that's what Professional Collective is all about. It's how can we help one another and how support one another, and what can we do to really just to make life a lot easier for one another. So, as I said earlier on, I have with me Shireen Hunter. Shireen and I go back a long way. Now, Shireen, you've just stepped back on South African soil after being in the UAE. And it's an exciting world out there, and I'm pretty sure that you met with some extraordinary people while you were there. But Shireen, just in a few words, just tell the ladies exactly what you do and why, the cross-border is so important to you as well. So over to you, Shireen.
Thank you very much, Charlotte, and welcome to everybody who has set the time aside for today's conversation. It's going to be a very personal conversation because I'm a working single mum, and a lot of the things that I've done have been motivated by the fact that I'm actually the breadwinner in my family. Charlotte knows the story, and many of you who have been involved for some time know my husband passed away more than 5 years ago now, very suddenly from cancer. And then the ball was parked in my court. And a lot of the decisions that I've made with regards to how I navigate my business, the leaps of faith that I've taken, the calculated risks that I've taken, they are very much motivated by the fact that the buck stops with me. And that gives you another whole reality. Because for me, prior, building my business was a luxury. It was a hobby. I wasn't the breadwinner. I did it because I loved it. And then in 24 hours, I had to suddenly work because I now needed to provide for myself and a minor child. So that has been a huge driving force, and it has completely changed the way that I approach business. I think you need to know that. What I do, I have two companies that I will share with you today information about. The one is African Brand Architects. I've been in marketing for about 30 years. So 3 decades later, I wasn't always a business owner. In fact, it was the last thing on my mind. How I stumbled into having my own business about 15 years ago is love, because I loved my husband and I wanted to have a baby, and it was late to have a baby, and I felt like I'd given enough years to corporate. So when I had my baby, I didn't want to be in corporate anymore, and I started my business as a little something to keep me busy during the day when she went to I think it was preschool. I had my mornings available, and I thought, you know what? I don't want to nag my husband. Let me start something on the side. And that's actually how I started my business. So I wish I could tell you I was born to be an entrepreneur and it was the dream that I always had. I can tell you it was not that. I didn't think I would get married or have children, but love changes everything. So anyway, that's how I started my marketing company. And then and it's called African Brand Architects. It started off as a company called Hunter Group, actually. I reinvented my brand during lockdown. So another big turning point and crisis in business. When I originally started up my business, Hunter Group, it was purely to service small, medium enterprises. Because it was a comfort business, I didn't want big clients. I'd already come out of corporate. I just wanted to deal with startups. I know how to start up a business, and I wanted to look after small companies who are not very demanding. And that was the dream, and that was the vision. And I ran with that business for about 10 years until we went into lockdown. Lockdown turned my whole world on its head. And because in our own economy locally in South Africa, we were not trading. And at the same time, my husband was diagnosed with cancer. So I had two crises verge at the same time. Every company was closed, and I now knew my husband was dying. I had to make a very big decision about where I was going to go fishing for business because I instantly became the breadwinner. The way we found out is he broke his neck. So there was no warning or time, or it was like he stops working today and you start building your business today. But it was good in a way because that crisis forced me to make decisions. I had to think on my feet and I had to be resilient and I had to have grit. So I thought, well, if there's no business in South Africa, the next best thing, you go fishing in another country. Where are the markets open? I have to start making money. I have to look after a sick husband. I have to provide for my child and I have to. And my phone rang on a Sunday afternoon while this is what I was thinking about. And I didn't have a client yet internationally. My phone rang on a Sunday afternoon. I answered the phone and it was a client from the UAE. And that's where I landed my first international client. You can call it luck. Whose phone rings on a Sunday afternoon with a client in Dubai? I mean, I didn't look for them. I didn't market myself in the UAE, but I had networked in that circle prior. So I suppose there was some seed in the ground and a lot of faith and a lot of prayers. And the phone rang, and then that was the beginning. And I took that first lead and I held onto it for dear life. And I worked with that client through lockdown for 10 months. And if I have to be totally honest today, that one client was a big part of how I survived lockdown and my business didn't close because many of my competitors in the brand management advertising space closed shop. And I had almost instantaneously catapulted into an international brand management agency. And that's where the name change came. Hunter is my surname. So when we served just the domestic market, it was Hunter Group. My late husband and I had many companies. I then reinvented myself under African brand architects because what I wanted to do was have a call to action in the name in our name of our agency to say, if you want to build a brand in Africa, we are your partner here. If you're an international player, but you don't understand the market here, how to penetrate the market here, or maybe you're a South African brand, but you want to move into international markets, let us be your partner. So there was a whole complete new name change. I pivoted, that famous word pivot that everybody uses. That's basically how it pivoted. So it was a little bit of luck and a lot of hard work and sheer desperation is how my business has scaled. And maybe that is the mix. I also own a company called Third Intellect. And that was just foresight in the South African market. About 3 years ago, I realized technology is going to disrupt our markets. I partnered with a strategic partner who I met through Charlotte, and then we started a company that specializes in AI bespoke product. So it's not an IT company; it is pure AI in the way that it is. So that is basically a little bit of my history and how I landed on my feet and where I am positioned today.
Well, Shireen,
Oh,
I've been with you through all of this, and as she says, there was a time when Shireen had to really scramble to keep things together. And I think, Shireen, there may be a lot of ladies online with us here today who have gone through similar experiences where suddenly life just serves them a massive blow, and you have to scramble and you have to pick yourself up again. But I think, given the fact that you are now looking forward and you're looking at how the future looks in South Africa, and I'm sure that's what all the ladies are waiting to hear, is what are the prospects for women in South Africa? How does the South African landscape serve us as women in South Africa? And I think you've now already touched on the AI, which for many people is becoming like, oh my gosh, if I hear that word again, I'm going to be sick. But the point of the matter is that we cannot change the future, and we cannot change what is going to happen in our businesses if we don't stay very, very close to what's happening. So my question to you is, and I'm sure there's lots of questions that are going to come from our guests online, but let's try and keep it swift. How are women in South Africa using mobile and online tools to grow their businesses? If we're going to talk futuristic, we have to listen to this as someone that's already dabbling in that industry. How are women in South Africa using mobile and online tools to grow their businesses?
So, Charlotte, what I'm going to ask everybody here, I'm going to give you a keyword for every answer because that's what you need to go and unpack. Every question we discuss today could be a whole day workshop by itself. But what I want to say is there are two kinds of women in our country at the moment. Those that are using digital tools and are scaling their business and are equipping and empowering themselves, and those that are not using digital tools, who are not empowering themselves and who are struggling in business. And there is no gray. You are either on one trajectory today as we sit here, or you are on another trajectory. So the digital tools are aplenty. Knowing about the tools is not going to help you. You really need to take personal responsibility for learning how to use those tools. Because I can tell you that over WhatsApp, you could generate 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 rands worth of revenue by transitioning to a business account, uploading your catalog, putting your pricing on WhatsApp business accounts. And you'll hear me today, but there's maybe 1% of people in the room that will actually go and find out how to do that. So knowing about the tools is important, and then implementing those tools in your business is vital. If you don't know how, there is not an excuse in the world. At the very least, you can go and ask ChatGPT how to learn it and how to explain it to you and how to apply it to your specific business. And obviously, how you ask it is important. So if you are a seamstress with a sewing business, you would then ask that specific question of ChatGPT. I am a seamstress. I have a sewing business. I work alone at home. I live in Pretoria. I am 55 years old. I have 3 children. You could give ChatGPT all that information and say, now, based on these credentials, and here's some of my links to my other marketing collateral, how do I pull this through onto WhatsApp business account to create revenue for my business? I think the biggest mistake people make when interacting with intelligence is we don't give enough information. But the tools are very obvious nowadays. Most people are au fait with using WhatsApp business accounts or using digital social media accounts. Websites is still one of the biggest tools. So if you've neglected your website and you're not updating things on your website, it's a big, big downfall. A lot of people think because they're on social media, they don't need a website. I totally disagree. I've been in marketing for 30 years. You still need a dashboard. For search engine optimization, to generate leads, you need a website, and you need to be updating that website on a monthly basis. And please, whatever you do, do not partner with a service provider that charges you every time you have to update your website. There are much more economic ways of doing it, and it's actually what makes people run away from it because it becomes very expensive. There are other ways, and I'm happy to answer those questions in another session. They're not for today. But if you walk away with anything, just write that word digital tools, circle it, and go and learn what works for your business, and pick one or two and work those specific tools. You don't have to do everything. You can just pick one or two and then make those two work for you. And it's only working for you if it's generating leads. If it's not generating leads, you're doing something wrong. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with the tool. It means you don't know how to use the tool, and that's the gap that you need to close.
Well, Shireen, as someone who's probably the oldest on this call here today, digital has become my best friend. And I can honestly say that I've had to spend hours and hours being taught how to use it. But at the end of the day, it's the only way to do business today is to actually accept the fact that, it's the digital platform that works best for us. Now, Shireen, we all as women in business and anybody in business, it's not even a question of it's male, female, it's anybody in business, has always got the same challenge or similar challenges. But I think access to funding and opportunities, what is it that you can advise, and how can we make access to funding and opportunities inclusive for all women entrepreneurs, whatever the background they may come from.
Exactly. So, Charlotte, I mean, this was the $1,000,000 question when I sat with my head in my hands and I was the breadwinner. Now, I mean, at face value, you can look at me and see which group of our population I fall into. And I felt at the time, I was actually overly optimistic, if I must be honest, and maybe naively so, until I had someone pat me on my shoulder and it sent me into a spiral of depression to say, don't even bother applying for funding. You just don't tick the boxes. Just like that. And it was someone at a government level, and I went from being very excited and putting forward a lot of pitch documents, tendering for a lot of business. I wasn't really successful yet, but I mean, I just started the process. But it's like somebody came and threw a bucket of cold water over me to say, sorry, girl, you're not going to qualify. Don't even bother. Don't waste your time. And I got so depressed because I thought, Lord, where to now for me and my child? Where do we go? I know I'm good at my job. I know I can deliver results. I know I've got an amazing agency, but there are so many barriers to entry for me, whether it's a gender barrier, a race barrier, an age barrier. I'm now 50, like seriously, like I need the wisdom here. And then I spent a lot of time feeling sorry for myself. And then I thought, no, bugger this. I'm going to fish in a pond where there's no red tape. So if there's red tape here in my country, I'm going to go fish in other countries where there's no red tape. And I want to say to you, digital is a great equalizer. Digital, there's no profile, there's no points for who you are. You either are on digital and you're presenting your product well and you're delivering in excellence and you will get the revenue, or not. So if you want a fair playing field where there's no red tape, then that's the space that you need to trade, is online, because there's none of these challenges that you face if you're tapping into one space. It opens up the world to do business, and everybody in every country is doing business with somebody from another country, and there's no real rules around that except for how much money you make and the taxes you pay. But other than that, if you're not making money, it's just because you're not working. It's as simple as that. If you're not making money online, it's because you're not online. And I've been able to cut across all of that and it's funny because actually the person who gave me that advice hasn't developed or grown at all, because they still focused on a local product in South Africa, knocking on the same doors for funding. The funding is no longer available. It's a dry space now. And in the 5 years since I got that devastating news until today, my business has scaled a number of times. And that person who gave me that advice is still sitting desperate, knocking on the same doors for funding. And even though they tick all the boxes, they actually haven't grown at all. So sometimes I also just want to say to you, woman to woman, people will come and discourage you. And they will say things that will really break your spirit, break your morale, because you are a competitor, you are a threat to them. It's, oh, because you're a woman, you're never going to get it, or because you're this, you're never going to get it. I've heard it all. I've heard everything from I won't get it because I'm a Christian and I'm too religious, to I'm too white, to I'm too old, to I've heard it all. And that has been the biggest distraction of my life in business, is learning not to take that horrible, negative, discouraging stuff that people tell you. Take it and put it aside and just say, this is my journey, this is my path, and I'm going to use the wisdom that I need. And the answer is in digital, because you can build relationships across borders and you can sidestep a lot of the things that you think are holding you back. They're not actually holding you back. All that is holding you back is your knowledge and a little bit of courage to go and teach yourself how to do it. And then the world is your oyster.
Well, Shireen, you certainly are a good example of that. And I can also say that, as soon as you start to put your toe in the water, in international waters, there's a totally different mindset. And I do believe that the future is definitely for all South African women to start putting their toe into that international waters. So, Shireen, how can we help more women turn small side hustles into real growing businesses? Because I know that we all start with something, we have this little idea of a product or a service, but how can that actually be turned from small into real growing business?
No problem. So I want you to pick up a pen wherever you are and just write this down. Because the answer is in this room, actually, but there's no sidestepping it. Write this down. Networks open markets. Networks open markets. So the problem is, if you are not in a good, strong network, you are going to struggle to access the market. It's relationship, relationship, relationship. And I write about this all the time on social media. Get off the couch. It's not purely digital. And you are misleading yourself, even if you have the most amazing digital strategy. It doesn't negate the relationship element. It's a hybrid economy. The two strategies have to run together. You need to have a little bit of penetration on digital, and you have to have amazing relationships in networks. So I think the thing, and that's what today is all about. It's a network in a room, and you don't know it and you don't see it, but a lot of your customers are sitting in the room. The problem with networking, I find, is that people want to do speed dating. And business is not speed dating. You are not going to come to one meeting a month and do R1 million sales. It just doesn't work like that. Relationships take time, and you have to be sincere about building those relationships, and you have to genuinely want to get to know people, and you've got to know how to. Sometimes you'll meet with someone 3 or 4 times and think you're not going to do any business with them, but accidentally in a conversation they say something, and then that's the dot you join. It could be something that their husband does. It could be a business that they were involved in previously that they're not even in any longer, but it's a good connection for you. So conversations open doors. So and that's how every single door has opened in my business, is through the network. So I have very specific networks that I've plugged into. I'm not a serial networker or a serial, I don't even like that word serial. I'm a drop your anchor in the ground and then go and plow the field. Pick your network and then work your network. So in other words, you can't just go to this group and then that group and then that group. And it's not about going to as many meetings as possible. It's about how many relationships of substance can you build. And you might be in that network for 6 months or a year before you start to really generate revenue out of that. It's like anything, it takes time. So networks open markets. That's where your leads come from. People get to know you, they remember you, and that's the point, is they need to get to know you, and then they need to remember you so that the next time they or someone in their network requires a product or service, they think of you first. So you still want the word of mouth advertising, and you still want to be referred. I want to say all my business is referred business. 100% of the leads that come into my agency is referred business. It's referred. It's all come through relationships. Are we online? Are we visible? Yes, we are. But that's actually a small part of it. Our business comes from people who say, if you are looking for good business advice, or you want to elevate your brand, or you're thinking about AI, you have to phone Shireen. That's how my business comes to me. People who know me, people who trust me. I've done work. I have a good reputation. I have credibility. But I am not on my couch. My days of being on the couch are long gone. I'm out there in the marketplace doing the hard work. I own the business, but I'm still the front line. I meet every single customer who comes into my business, and I have a team of people just outside my office. I meet every customer first, every single one of them, myself, because I'm also I scrutinize my client. I don't just take everybody for a client. I do not want clients who are not ethical. And I have had many, not many, maybe a handful of leads over the last few years of people who want to do business with our business, but I don't want to do business with them. And we have the golden handshake, and they go their way and I go my way because they are not ethical. So, but I want to say to you, it's a hybrid economy. Hybrid means in-person and digital. It's not one or the other. You need both. Even if you have the strongest relationship with someone, they are still going to go look at your website. People are still quite forgiving if you're not on social media, but they are not forgiving if you don't have a proper professional landing page, a little bit of company information, or you're still using a Gmail account. I hope no one in this room is still using a Gmail account for your business, because it's not good.
So, having listened to all of this now, and I'm sure the ladies are thinking, well, where do I fit into all of this? But what new chances are there for women to trade and do business across Africa?
Oh, Charlotte, it is enormous. I mean, we don't have enough women in South Africa to attend to the opportunities that are available in Africa. I mean, Africa is a continent, it's massive. So we've got something called the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Just go read about it. Try and find out how you can export your products, especially if you sell time. If you are selling time, you can only sell a certain number of hours during the day. Try and find a way that you can link it back to material product and how you can export the product. So, because exporting it's a gate to scaling your business. And you might say, "Oh, Shireen, you know what? I have a herb garden and I sell my herbs at the market on a Sunday. And I don't think that that's something that I could necessarily export." And I will tell you, you are wrong, 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 wrong. The market for exporting herbs out of South Africa is massive. And we cannot supply people fast enough. Whether you've got honey or tea or thyme. My business, I sell myself. I'm selling advice and strategies. There are people in Dubai currently, the USA, the UK, and Mauritius who I'm exporting my time to. So I'm not selling my time necessarily for rand per hour in South Africa. I sell it at dollar per hour in the UAE and pound per hour in the UK. So they're still buying my time, but I'm providing that time to a different market. So that was one of my goals. I said, I don't want to earn rands, I want to earn dollars. So if I want to earn dollars, then I have to sell to markets where they pay in dollars, right? Whether I design a website in South Africa for a South African buyer or design the same website for a buyer in Dubai, they're just paying me in a different currency, but the value of selling it into an international market is 10-fold, 20-fold. So and just because you're stuck not knowing how to present your product to an international market doesn't mean you can't. You just have to find out, this is my business. How do I sell this either to a bigger customer or how do I sell this outside of South Africa? I want to say through the Chamber of Commerce in Johannesburg, if you're based here, or any other chamber, you can go to the chamber and ask them which markets are looking for hand soap for hotels. They will tell you, actually, if you don't even know what business to start to do an export business, you can go to the chamber and say to them, what products are you looking for to export to Lesotho, if you want to start close, or to Zambia, or to Mauritius? What do you need, chamber? And they'll tell you, we need leather shoes. We need honey. We need biscuits. We need robes for a spa and a new hotel that's being built in Nigeria. They will tell you what those people are looking for because the chambers are contacted for those products in South Africa. So they know where the markets are. And they can actually give you the right answers about the kind of products and the kind of services that people are looking for in other countries. In fact, one of my leads came through the Johannesburg Chamber of Commerce to say in Mauritius, they are looking for people who can specifically do AI. And I bought a ticket to Mauritius and I spent a week in Mauritius and I went and I called on different customers to say, we're a South African-based company. These are the AI solutions that we can provide. how can I serve your business? It was actually as simple as that. No different to cold calling if you get in your car and go and say hi and greet clients. But you're not going to get past the get in your car and go and have meetings with people and go and talk to clients. Unfortunately, digital marketing doesn't fix relationship marketing. You need to be able to do both.
Goodness me. Well, we've got so much to look forward to because this conversation could go on for hours and hours, but unfortunately we don't have that amount of time. So I think let's get down to, let's knuckle it down to say, what does the future for women in business look like in the Republic of South Africa? Shireen, you've been there, you've done it, you've got the T-shirt. What is your advice and what do you say? What is
the future is bright. The future is bright. Digital has been the equalizer. It stripped every woman in this country of any excuse you might have. That was my point right at the beginning. There is no excuse for you not to educate yourself freely, not to learn how to use digital product freely, how to find new customers freely. There's no red tape. Digital has taken all the red tape away. And now the onus is 100% on you as a woman in business to go get yourself educated, get yourself some mentorship. There is just no excuse not to prosper. There's no excuse. With a zero base, zero income, 000, you can build a business from home if you just learn. All you need is internet access. That's actually all you need. You can get all the education you want freely available online. A lot of the AI is freely available online. There's nothing stopping you from connecting with people around the world through things like LinkedIn and social pages. Actually, at this stage of the game, the only thing that holds you back is you, Charlotte. There's no excuse. That would be, put your sunglasses on. The future is bright. There's no red tape. You can trade across borders and you can really scale very quickly. And it is hard work. I'm not telling you it's easy. I'm not telling you it's easy. There's nothing in this life that's worth it that is easy. But it is worth it. It is worth it. So I don't think there's anything to be scared of. I think I would be worried if I'm sitting at home thinking I can't do it, I can't learn, I don't want to do it. You're going to get left behind if you're not already left behind. The horse has bolted. The train has left the station. You need to get on there as quickly as possible and empower and equip yourself. No one is going to do it for you.
Okay, so somebody's just saying here, I'm going to ask some of the questions here so that are in the chat box. So ladies, if you've got any questions, you can already start putting it in the chat box. So I see here, Paula, you are saying, I didn't understand what Shireen said. Does she charge the same price to South African customers that she charges to American clients and work out the dollar price in equivalent rands? And if so, doesn't that make it hugely expensive for the South African market?
No, you can never do that. Whatever product you sell, you have to sell it at a market-related price in that country. You could never do a direct conversion. Otherwise, you're 100% right. It would be way too expensive for South Africans, or it would be so, I hate the word cheap, but it would be so cheap in that market that they would think that it's not a good product. So what you have to do when you go into a new market is you need to go and do a competitor analysis. You need to have a look at similar products in that market and what competitors are charging and what is the market-related price. It's the same as buying a tin of Coke. If you buy a tin of Coke in South Africa and you go to buy a tin of Coke in Dubai, are they the same price? No. Definitely not. You're going to pay 60, 70 Rand for a tin of Coke in Dubai versus 10 Rand for a tin of Coke in Johannesburg, but that is their price if you convert the dirham to the Rand, let's say. So no, it's the same product, but it's worth, depending on where that product is sold, it's worth, it holds a different value. That's the penny that has to drop.
Okay. Does that answer your question, Paula? Okay, so Paula is also saying, doesn't that make you want to focus more on international clients? Why even bother with SA clients, if you don't mind me asking? Paula, that is
Paula, of course, of course. Obviously, your interest will be where people pay you the best money for the service that you deliver. That's why I'm up and down to Dubai, Paula, because there people are willing to actually pay what I would consider a fair market-related price because of the economic, I want to say, issues that we have in our country. I feel sorry sometimes for business owners and entrepreneurs that are selling an A product for a C price. This product is worth 20,000 Rand, but you now have to sell it for 5,000 Rand because people just can't afford it. So you are locked in by kind of a, I want to say, a poverty economy, which it will hold you back 100%. So definitely, you do want to focus on doing international business and international trade. Having said that, though, for me, I still love relationship and I'm passionate about my country. I'm passionate about empowering businesses in my country, but I want to say my motivation to do local business is probably more propelled by my sense of responsibility as a South African and empowerment and moral obligation and things like that. I want to help local businesses in our country also to prosper and also to emerge into international players. But I wouldn't want to just depend 100% on the local market. Although I must say the local market has been very good to me. I have a lot of local business here in South Africa, and my clients are fair with me. I must be honest with you. My clients are very fair. They don't hustle me on price and try and get everything for nothing. Maybe it's because a lot of the clients in this country know I am a single working mom and they're fair with their pricing with me. That may be a bias in the way that your consumer deals with you, which is also not fair. But I'm just saying that may be part of the reason for it. My clients do pay fair price for the product. I'm not the cheapest, but I'm far from being the most expensive. And the way that I've grown my business, African brands with local business, because I've got big companies that I do business with in South Africa, because my prices are very competitive in South Africa. So a lot of corporate clients in South Africa that dealt with big agencies that were being charged premium prices have actually migrated over to our company because even the corporates, in fact, the corporates more than small business, are watching every penny that they spend. And if I had African brands can deliver a product, let's say for 5,000 Rand, and they don't have to pay 15,000 Rand for it, obviously, if the products are equal quality, they would rather do it through African brands. So we've got an interesting customer database. I've got tiny, tiny customers, one-man band working from home, and I've got big airlines that are international that we've held that account for years with them. So, and it's just because my moral compass is probably what retains our business. I'm very fair with our pricing. I don't overcharge because I think you can afford it, and I don't undercharge it because it's not fair to my team who do the work and who I have to pay, at the end of the month.
So thank you very much for that, Shireen. And I think, yeah, you've given us a lot to think about. And I think, anything to do with local is lekker. I absolutely agree with that. Anybody who knows that saying, local is lekker. For those who don't know what lekker means, it's nice in English. I'm an Afrikaans poppy, so I also do mix my tail a bit. But let me tell you, ladies, there's a good saying in business as well, and I've heard it said a lot of time: the world is your oyster. And I think we need to not underestimate what business opportunities there are. Because sometimes when we're sitting within our own little office, we become so almost like claustrophobic, and we don't see the wood from the trees. And it's forums like this that really starts to open your mind up. It's like taking your arms and opening your arms up and taking a deep breath of fresh air, or let's say relatively fresh air, and really making this type of community is where you're going to explore, where you're going to hear the voices and the experiences. So Shireen, I want to say thank you very, very much. I know that there's probably a lot of questions that so many would like to ask, but I would say if you've popped it into the chat box, I would certainly have asked the question, but I don't see anything more. Somebody says, thank you for the session. It was inspiring. The UAE market is challenging to break into. We've tried to establish our product. Now, ladies, I want to say this. In every instance, one has to know whether your product is marketable. Is your product marketable? Is there a need for your product? Have you done your market research? What is the competition like where you are going? Is that a product that is needed where you are wanting to take it? And I think those are the conversations, the deeper conversations, Shireen, that we can have within Professional Collective, is to say, what is your product? Are you looking in the right market? Are you actually going to the right people to get the advice? Because I know we often talk about be careful who you're getting advice from, because that often is also where the barrier to entry is that you're asking the wrong people. But it only is through wider conversations, wider networks, that you will find the right place for your business, for your product, for your service. There's a lot of questions that are coming in about what is the best transfer app, etc., etc. Unfortunately, this isn't going to be the forum for it, but I do have all of these questions. And what we can do is Shireen and I can take a look at it, and then we can start coming back to you with the clearer answers on that, because we are a little bit trapped for time here. But Shireen, thanks very much. Appreciate it. I just want to say on what we said, we were going to do a little bit of networking here as well, but we're a very, very big group, so we couldn't network all together. But I would say, if I may have this opportunity to at least give one or two of our newest members on this community, on Professional Collective, the opportunity to introduce themselves. And I can see on the top left of my screen, I've got Janet Herika. Janet, you're a new member. You've also just recently joined us. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so lovely to have you with us here. Janet, would you like in 2 minutes, just tell the people who you are and what you do?
Okay, I'm Janet Herika. My company is the Communication Circle, and I'm a PR marketing social media consultant working with clients to craft their communication messages to the world. And I'm in the process of creating a couple of new products that I'm looking forward to launching fairly soon, which is only really possible because all of this is giving me, over the period of time that I've been involved, ideas and the courage to take a leap into another product set, using all my skill sets. And I think Shireen has added to that. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Janet, and thanks for joining us. Is there any of our new members here? Rahil, are you still with us? Rahil, there we go. Rahil Mohammed, you've just joined us. In fact, yesterday. So, Rahil, please introduce yourself.
Good day, lovely ladies. Oh my gosh, I feel like the energy is just jumping off the screen. I feel like I was in the room with everybody. And Shireen, goosebump moments. Thank you so much for sharing. And, really sorry for the loss that you've experienced and that you've gone through. I can't even, it's a lot, but really proud of what you've done for yourself and your family, Shireen. And thanks for all the advice. It was great. Okay, so my name is Rahil. I own a company called Blueprint Global. Recently got a remote office set up in the UK. And I help businesses, small and medium-sized businesses, with their growth strategy. So I guess maybe official title strategist. But that's what I do. I help you scale your business to the next level with really a focus on setting up your business foundations. A lot of us grow so quickly, and there's opportunities that come our way, and then you find that, there's starting to be some cracks because maybe we don't have the right workflows, processes, policies, contracts, SLAs, NDAs, all those kind of things in place. And so, so that's what I do. a new side hustle for me is writing SOPs, workflows, and processes. It's been on the side, but I think I'm fully integrating that into my business offerings now. I have shared my LinkedIn profile in the comments. For those of you that have connected, thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you in that space. Thanks, Charlotte, for this amazing platform. It's been on my to-do list to join for a while, and I'm glad I've done that.
Oh, well, it's great to have you with us, Rahil. And Rahil also recently helped us in looking at inward into the business to help us to strategize for our regional expansion of the Women of Stature Awards, which is very exciting and obviously something that I'm really, really excited about. And with that being said, we've got some of our members that have been with us for many, many, many years. And we've got Gudrun, who's also recently joined. If we had enough time, I would give everybody an opportunity to say hi. But I just want to go back quickly just to share with you what our calendar is for the next year, because I do think it's important that you all know that we are, we are going to be running quite a program over the next couple of, next year as well. And just to remind you, if you wanted to join, please hop onto the website, which is www.wosfoundation.org, wosfoundation.org. These are our two membership packages. In fact, yesterday we had our workshop for the ladies that are on the premium package, which is the Network for Success workshop, which is included. And there's also obviously the benefits of special discount prices when it comes to any of our events. But coming up in the next year, every first Wednesday of the month, starting from the 4th of February, we will have this Power Hour, and we will have other very interesting conversations. And then, of course, the big night is on the 11th of April. That's Saturday, the 11th of April. As I said earlier on, we've got quite a number of our 2026 nominees online with us. Ladies, congratulations on making it through and qualifying for adjudication. We are really excited to have you on this journey with us. We are still busy onboarding a lot of nominees for 2026. The big night is on Saturday, the 11th of April in Johannesburg, and that is at the Indaba Hotel. And then the other very exciting event, we launched our summits this year, and we will have our Professional Collective Summit on the 7th of August. Now, this looks very far ahead, but we were talking about business, the future of business. And ladies, I would say what keeps me ticking over day by day is that I plan well in advance. I always make sure that I've got something to look forward to in the new year. But I want to leave you with this today as we close off this session. This is a place where we find opportunities, we create opportunities, and we look for within this community, where can we find the resources that we need in our businesses from this community. So Wednesdays, as it is a Wednesday, we have what we call Market Wednesday, where you can drop your business information into the WhatsApp group, which is exclusive for our Professional Collective members. Source services from within the community, the resources for your own business. You may be a small business, you can't be all things to all people. Why not look for that service within the community? Come and speak to us, speak to me. Let me know what it is that you need in your business, and I can point you in the right direction. Shireen's been a great source of inspiration today, looking at what is it going to take your business global. And it doesn't have to be to the point where it is global, completely outside of the borders of South Africa even. Regional business, what's happening regionally. So I just think overall, I want to say, please, the world is your oyster. It doesn't stop with somebody giving you the bad advice or the wrong advice. As Shireen said, it could have totally shut her down had she listened to that one person who shared something so negative, and to say, no, you're the wrong age, or you're the wrong color, or you've got the wrong, whatever you want to call it. But I want to say, please reach out to us. Be open-minded, be open-hearted. Allow people into your space. We've got such talent. Just in this room here today, Shireen, we had 30, almost 40 people online with us today. It just tells you how women are so wanting more and more information. How can I scale my business? What can I do? So Shireen, thank you very much for sharing that with us today. And I just want to say, is there anybody that wants to ask any more questions relating to the subject matter of today? Please don't be shy. I know there's been quite a bit in the chat box, but is there anybody else that'd like to ask a question or give a word of advice? Connie, you're somebody that really struggled through COVID and you had to pivot. What is your word of advice to anybody today sitting here on this platform?
Wow, thanks for putting me on the spot there, Charlotte. Quick thinking here on my feet. Basically exactly what Shireen said. Just, you've got to get off the couch, you've got to do it, it's up to you. Nobody's going to come and save you. And I think too often we think we put a little seed out there and okay, something's going to come. At some point, you've actually got to get out there and do it and make it happen. And it's a choice you need to make. So also, if you can shut out the negative stuff around you, not listening to all the negative naysayers, their fears and their apprehensions about what you're going through is their drama, not yours. So stay in your lane, keep focused, and actually just get out there and do it. What's the worst that can happen? Really, get out there, try it, and do it.
Janet, you've got a word of advice too?
No, I've got a question. My question is ignoring the naysayers, which is great, and I love that. But what about ignoring yourself as the naysayer? Have you? I think that as women we tend to put ourselves down and maybe not believe in our abilities and skill sets properly. Did you have to deal with that? And if you did, how did you do it?
Who are you
And
directing
just
that question to?
Oh, sorry, Connie.
Connie, okay.
Put you on the spot.
No, very quickly, what you need to learn to do is become your own cheerleader. Because if you keep talking bad to yourself, talking down to yourself, well, that doesn't serve you at all. Any less than what it would if you were going to talk like that to your best friend, to your sister, to your mother, to whoever. So I think it is just learn to actually start appreciating who you are and what you do, because you are with you for the longest ever. So become your own cheerleader. That is my take on it. And it takes effort, it takes time, and we're always continually working at it. But rather say a loving word to yourself than a horrible one.
Shireen, over to you.
Yeah, what I wanted to say, and I'm just telling you what my experience is. Some of the worst advice I got from the people who loved me the most. And it was because they want to protect me. They wanted to protect me. Are you sure you should be getting on an airplane and flying halfway across the world on your own? And I got it all. When people love you, they want to protect you. But sometimes that is the bridle on the horse that actually holds you back. So my advice is to take advice from people who are doing exceptionally well, doing exactly what you are doing. Find someone who is doing what you are doing and then let them advise you. But for someone who's doing it well.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Shireen. Mary, I see you've got your hand up. We've got 1 minute left. Mary Kutlani, want to come online with us, dear? Mary, your microphone is off. Okay, she's got the hand up and she's got the microphone off. So unfortunately, I can't hear you, Mary, but I'm quite sure that if you have a question, you can just drop it on WhatsApp to me. I've got lots of messages coming through from ladies on WhatsApp already to say, what a lovely session. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And I do think very often you know, we just need this little intervention. Let's call it an intervention and advice to get us and steer us further along as we sail the ship. And sometimes the waters are quite rocky, but when they are smooth waters, enjoy the ride. So from me to everybody that joined us here today, thank you so much for your time. It was lovely to see you online, lovely to see so many of our nominees with us today. I hope you've enjoyed this session, and we've got some exciting workshops lined up for the 2026 season of nominees. As you know, Shireen's also one of our ladies that are going to be doing a workshop with you, plus some others. But lovely to have you with us, ladies, and all the best for the rest of the week. And just stay in touch and keep a lookout in your inboxes for all the news and anything that's happening in the world of Women of Stature. And we'd love to hear from you too. Please share any of your success stories, anything that you've got going on. And please join us at Professional Collective so that we can support and share everything that is going on in your life. Thank you, ladies, and goodbye.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Pleasure. Bye.
Thank you, Charlotte. I really appreciate
Bye.
it. Shireen, thank you so much as well. It was awesome.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Shireen. Bye.
Pleasure, Charlotte. Bye.